What is going on, snipers? Naeem Al-Ubaidi here. I hope all of you guys are having a wonderful day today. Let's just dive right into our daily cryptocurrency analytics today and take a look at several different coins that are making some price movements over the next couple of days. Today we saw a little bit of a slight market correction for a lot of coins. A market correction is considered over 10% or above. In traditional markets, typically 10% of a decline is a substantial decline, but in crypto that's almost like every day. So for me, I like to actually look at market corrections as more of a 30% threshold in the crypto market. But anyways, let's dive right into it. So starting off with Litecoin, I know a lot of you guys have been watching this coin. If you guys are on our Discord or Patreon, you guys know that we're talking a lot about Litecoin. This is the one-day chart because I want you guys to focus on several different indicators here. If you guys are new to Sniper's Tube, I am going to mention some of these indicators. We have the 3 moving averages here. You can see this red moving average represents the 50-day, the 100 days in green, and then you see there is a dark blue one back here, which represents the 200-day moving average. The RSI is right here in the bottom. This stands for the Relative Strength Index, in which if it goes over this line right here, it means it's over 70, which indicates something is overbought. So typically prices will head down. You can see here when we were overbought over 70, prices went down, and then it saw this consolidation, and then you saw this bounce back from this support level. Now seeing a little bit of resistance right around the 18, let's say 1.8 million Satoshi level. So pretty much with Litecoin, if we were to do a technical here, we'll go ahead and pull up. Let's see if there's a chart that has a little bit more information here. You can see this is a little bit better. You can see that's a lot clearer in terms of the moving averages. That other chart was just a different exchange. Now what's interesting about this is you can see in the past there was some very clear support levels right here around 1 million Satoshis. And Satoshis, by the way, are the fractionalized version of Bitcoin. So on the right hand side you can see there's decimal spots here. Up to 8 decimal spots represent a Satoshi value. It's almost like having a dollar and then having cents, right? So that's like the easiest way to put it. So looking at previous patterns, you can see we've been on this volatile channel here for quite a bit now. It looks like we started right around I'd say March, April-ish, and we had this initial run up coming from around it looks to be around 400,000 Satoshis. Now looking at current price levels after this initial increase, first I want to mention, we've seen this before, and being that we've seen this before, what typically ends up happening when you see these run-ups in the past, prices have consolidated. So is that what's going to happen to Litecoin? Well, it's certainly possible. Now one difference here, and I do want to mention this, is we are at these high levels right now, and not only are we up here, but the 50-day moving average is also starting to get up here as well. You can see we bounced right on top of that 50-day. So looking at Litecoin's previous history around the 50-day, you can see it likes to bounce on top of these 50 days and break out. And then you can see here, the EMA is actually right here in the back. This stands for the exponential moving average. And if it is bouncing on top of that, that's also a great indicator that price movements are heading upwards. Remember, you can never determine the price magnitude, but always the price movements. And you see this channel heading up, and then you saw this initial consolidation, and then it rounded up a little bit. Now this is really where the 50-day caught up to Litecoin's price, because all around right here, you can see if you take out the ruler, we're almost 75% away from that 50-day. So looking at where we're at right now and what has happened in the past, every time we move away from the 50-day, it looks like Litecoin's it likes to get back around that 50-day moving average. You can see we went right below it here, went right above it, below it, it kept pulling it back, and then this really stuck right there below the 50-day here, breaking out, and now you can see we've bounced right on top of that 50-day. So let's go into a little bit more of an in-depth chart here. Pull up the 1 hour. Based on the 1 hour, we did predict this on our Patreon. If you guys are Patreons, you guys know that we sent out this trade alert recently for Litecoin forming this extremely narrow channel, and it's all under, by the way, a lot of you guys have asked about that. So for those of you that don't know where to access that, let me actually show you guys where the trade alerts are, because a lot of you guys have asked about that, and it seems as if some of you guys are getting a little bit confused by the posts that Patreon has versus the feature tag. So when you're on the Patreon, you go on posts, and then on this left hand side you can click trade alerts here, and then you can see there's 27 so far. This was actually the one that we predicted for Litecoin. Now, I didn't just use the indicators that we were using right now when predicting this. When I predicted this, I was actually looking at the Fibonacci levels, and the Fibonacci levels for me were indicative of a possible breakout because of the fact that we were still here within the mid levels. We still had all of this room on top, and now if we pull up the Fibonacci retracement here, you can see here, let's see if the indicator will be able to be inserted into this one right now. I like to use the auto fib. Actually, I have one here in my favorites there. So now you can see we're starting to see a little bit of support levels right here in the bottom of this Fibonacci level, but we're at the top level of the total Fibonacci. So based upon where we're at right now, for me personally, you know, I've recently gotten hold of some Litecoin. Matter of fact, today I actually had dinner at a restaurant here with one of our patrons, and we actually went to dinner and paid in Litecoin. So it was actually really cool to do that today. You know, when I went there, it's a Korean barbecue restaurant actually, so it's a very popular one, and they actually give you 15% off for using cryptocurrency because apparently the owner stores them. So anyways, for Litecoin right now in the short term, pretty much obviously you see these support levels here, and we're currently in this tight channel after this huge run up that we saw. We're seeing some clear resistance levels right around 1.9 million satoshis, and if we do head back to that level, I think that we will test this resistance level. If we can break out of this resistance level, that would be a possible breakout for Litecoin, and that would be obviously a parabolic breakout as we've seen with most breakouts out of support levels. Here's another example of that. So you can see here we broke out of this support level, and when you break out of this resistance level, you can see when you break out of the resistance, you see these huge run-ups. So that could be certainly possible for Litecoin. But now that we broke out of this pennant, let's watch and see, is it going to form support right around this Fibonacci level? And if it does, that would be a good thing. And if we can form a channel up here and continue to see resistance, because these resistance levels have been continuous for quite a while now. You can see it's happened 3 times already that we've tested that resistance level. So I think it's a little bit overdue now. Hopefully we can see that break out in the next coming days. So let's pull up Ethereum and take a look at where Ether is headed. I don't know why all these charts are not showing up the way that I want to see them. So we'll do the Bittrex chart, usually that has high volume. You want to make sure the charts that you use have high volume so you can see the true volatility of that coin. And somebody on Discord actually helped me out with that today and messaged me about it. So looking at this coin, you can see there's an obvious reversal here following this downtrend. And if we were to chart this out, you can see we found the ground level here right around, it looks to be about 2.4 million satoshis, and as soon as we found that level, we ended up rising right back up to around 9.78 million satoshis, heading back to that 10 million mark, and our previous resistance was right at about 15 million satoshis. So what is the prediction for Ethereum? I'm very optimistic about Ethereum. This is what I'll tell you. The fact that ERC20 tokens pretty much hold the majority of ICOs that you see nowadays, and a lot of projects are built on ERC20 tokens like OMG and other projects that they take advantage of Ethereum in a way that Ethereum is almost like the Linux of, you know, blockchain, right? Where Linux was the back end you know, platform that really enabled Windows and especially Mac OS to really come about and create what they've created today. You know, even Mac OS, if you look at it right now, it's almost like this polished version of Linux. So I think Ethereum can act upon that as well, being in the blockchain market as the smart contract provider and really working with a lot of these companies. And you know, it takes a lot of stress out of these ICOs. I had a buddy of mine just had an ICO, and I was having a conversation with him, and I asked him, I said, why did you decide to do it on an ERC20 token? And he said, well, you know, if you think about it, they are almost like working for us without asking for anything in return, because they are developing the blockchain, enhancing it. You know, they plan to implement that Raiden protocol soon, so that's going to be a protocol on top of the current blockchain. And you know, who doesn't like that? You know, who doesn't like almost like having a it's almost like if you were to just have your car washed and detailed and taken care of without really paying for it or paying attention to it. It just happens, right? everybody would want that. So instead of going out and doing all that stuff yourself, you can utilize ERC20 tokens and then build your platform on top of that. So, you know, I'm very bullish on Ethereum long term, and you know, now that we're seeing this correction, this is, in my opinion, long overdue once again, similar to what Litecoin has been seeing, and it's something that I've been looking forward to. You know, we're seeing a little bit of resistance up here, but I wouldn't really consider that resistance, because even here in the 1 day, you can see it's still green. I bet you if we pull up the 1 hour, there's some negative decline here, but you can see we broke right past that, saw a little bit more resistance around this level, and we did break through this resistance levels. I'd like to actually pull up the Fibonacci here, see where we're at around that, see if we're at the top. Yeah, so we saw resistance at the top of the Fibonacci once again. So, and that was previous resistance back here as well. So, you know, I'd really be waiting to watch if and when Ethereum can break through this. And I say when because I'm fairly confident that it will. You know, we saw resistance, but it wasn't that strong of a resistance level. I mean, you can see it was pretty overstretched here. It was still over the EMA for quite a bit of time before it went under. It's kind of just trailing through. It doesn't really like to go back here in this blue Fibonacci level. It typically likes to stay up here in the red. So being that it's playing around this top channel, very optimistic and bullish about Ethereum. So we'll continue to watch this and see what can occur. You can see there's also an ascending support level here that is forming, and that could definitely lead up to that run up. So let's pull up Bitcoin Gold. So hopefully some of you guys were able to take advantage of this. Bitcoin Gold obviously had this huge breakout today. Tons of volume came into the market, primarily institutional traders, because you see this huge green candlestick, which is indicative of an institutional trader, or you know, what we call a whale in the market. You can see even right here, we saw this previously happen before, and this is pretty much what I looked at when I saw this happen. I was like, well, this has happened before, and we saw a consolidation, and we're kind of acting in the same manner here. You see initial pop-up of price after this huge buy order of volume, and then you see that initial consolidation, almost like a bull flag, and then it pops below above that resistance, and then finds true resistance on that second run up. And it looks like we're doing the same thing here. We popped up once, popped up twice, now we're finding true resistance right around the level right here, 0.02. So when I look at a chart like this, you know, what it tells me is it's really following what has occurred in the past. Now, the past is a good indicator of the future, but it's also more of a fundamental, there's also a fundamental aspect to trading that you have to keep in mind, because technical analysis works well, but fundamental analysis can also work against technical analysis. You know, I mean, if something gets banned, right, the prices are probably going to drop whether it's forming an ascending triangle or not. So, you know, it's good to keep track of that as well. Now, something that I am paying attention to, I don't think a lot of people are watching right now, is there's going to be a potential pattern here that is forming. You can see here we have this really stretched out cup and handle, and I bet you if we pull up this chart, it'll be a little bit clearer. You can see here we've formed this cup right here. You see the top of the cup right there. You see the base down here, and then you've got this depth right here. You see that initial breakout, and then you're also seeing this resistance that possibly can form the handle. So what I'm looking to see is this. I'm personally watching the coin to see, obviously the EMA is pointed straight up, which can predict that prices are going to start heading up. Now, being that we're at these high levels, what I would say in this case is I'm going to watch and see, is this going to start forming a true cup and handle, seeing a little bit of consolidation, pretty much finding support maybe around this area to see a bounce back and a breakthrough through this resistance. And if that's the case, then I can certainly see us going back to these previous resistance levels that we saw right around 0.04969 here, and that's right up here. So if that does occur and we see this breakout and the cup and handle form properly, if you guys don't know what a cup and handle looks like, we do have a free resource. This is our Discord. You guys can actually click the link in the description and access our Discord. By the way, tonight, for those of you watching this live, we're going to be doing an open night owl tonight for everyone that is watching this live stream. You guys can come in and ask questions. It's going to be under voice_1. So I look forward to having you guys there. And once again, let's go ahead and pull up this chart here. We are going to be updating this soon. So we're currently in the process of getting that finished. We're pretty much almost done. Now we're just finalizing some of the descriptions to make this look a lot better. But it still works, right? So you see this is how cup and handle typically forms. You see this cup form with the depth, and then you see that handle form with that breakout right around these right hand side areas. And what you're really looking for in a cup and handle is to see how nicely you can form that cup, because if it can form that cup well and then it forms that handle, then it's certainly you know, a price indicator there that there will be a potential breakout. So let's go ahead and move on to the next coin here, which is NEO. I know a lot of you guys have talked about NEO recently, and you guys know I like the NEO project. You know, I think there's other projects as well that can really compete with NEO, but I think NEO has really taken the spot for being one of the leaders in, you know, almost being like a Chinese Ethereum, right? So you can see here, there's some clear support levels that NEO has been following for quite a while now. Since around July 22nd, it's found support right around the 196,000 Satoshi level. Currently, we're still within this run-up, looking at the one-day chart. Not necessarily forming any sort of pattern with this rounding area here. You can see we broke right past this previous resistance level, which shows high demand for NEO right now. And I think the demand for NEO is increasing because of the fact that I think China is starting to get ready to really start regulating ICOs. And if that can be the case, I think that can be very healthy for the market in general, being the fact that China can come back into the market and really start prospering in different ways, such as having their own ICOs, allowing them to you know, raise funds for different projects that people have in mind there, you know. So it'd be interesting to see where regulations head. You can see that this is really where we're watching in terms of resistance. Is it going to break through? And you have these long wicks as well that can also be something that you guys could watch. Now, looking at a more in-depth chart, let's go ahead and see what we're seeing here within the 1 hour. You can see there's this clear ascending pattern after that reversal from the initial downtrend, and then now we saw this huge sell-off volume with a couple big buy orders that came in, and now you're seeing a lot more of this buy volume come into the market, which is driving this price up. But what concerns me here, looking at the BTRX chart, for example, is the fact that the volume is starting to decrease quite a bit. So I'd like to see maybe, is there any more volume from any other charts, maybe even Binance. Binance looks a little bit better in my opinion. It's starting to get a little bit more volume. And then even if we pull up a chart from Bitfinex, not as much volume. So I think so far, based on this chart, it looks to me like, you know, I'll pull up the Binance one for now. It looks to me that obviously we're in this uptrend, but how long is this going to last? That's really the big question here. If we were to look at that 1 day once again, let's see how far we are from that 50-day. And that's something I do want to address here, because we are quite a bit away from it. You can see we're about 82% away from that 50-day. And 50-day for me is a good level of support. You know, you see Bitcoin have these huge rallies and then correct itself. And I think that with coins that have these corrections, a lot of the times they like to go and they like to bump off of this 50-day. Obviously, sometimes it doesn't follow that rule in some aspects and some degrees, but for the most part, if it's playing around within the 50-day, you see here it broke past that 50-day, you typically can see a little bit more of an incline there, especially with the EMA back here pointed straight up. So is there more potential for gains with NEO? I can certainly see that. However, is it a good time to get in and buy now? That's maybe not the best scenario. I think there's a lot more opportunities to get discounted prices for NEO, being that China hasn't necessarily gotten their regulations together yet. I think there's a little bit more time before we see huge run-ups for this coin. Now, if you are a value investor, you can always feel free to dollar cost average, right? So dollar cost averaging, for those of you that don't know, is a great technique to use as a value investor, where you invest the same amount at the same time. Whether it's every week on Monday at 12 p.m. you invest $100 in NEO, that could be a form of dollar cost averaging if you were to utilize the NEO asset. But you can do that with any coin, of course, or any investment. So I'm going to continue to watch NEO. I think over here in the short term, maybe we can pull up a day trader's chart here, see if there's anything that we can see with NEO. I would say right now you can definitely see there is some support levels right around 9,519 Satoshis. Looks like we're finding a little bit of resistance here, right around, looks to be about 10,000 Satoshis. And if we can continue to follow this channel, that could certainly be a channel that could be either day traded or swung. And what I mean by that is, if you're a swing trader, you can always trade within this channel. If you're a day trader, pull up that 1 minute, and you can see that there's this constant volatility here with clear levels of support and resistance. So easy channel to trade here. I think that's one of the funnest parts about crypto, right? Coming from a traditional stock background, the volatility is really what attracted me. So let's pull up TRX BTC, and this I believe will be the last one before we start engaging here within the live stream. I know we're taking a little bit of a different approach here. We're going to go through all of these coins first before we start the live stream, just so that we can have a little bit more of you know, a pleasant video for those who are watching this afterwards, and then we can get all of these requests out of the way. So looking at this chart here with TRX, you can see it's obviously declining in price. You can just pretty much tell. I mean, it's really staying below this 50-day here right now, and it's really coming from this decrease in volume. In my opinion, I think people have lost the interest that they initially had with Tron, because we did see a lot of interest. Now, if we pull up the 1-day, you can see it looks like we're starting to come back down to this 50-day. What I'm watching to see, because you know, I know about the Tron project, and I'd like to get a position in Tron. However, I think being that we're 61% away from that 50-day right now, and it looks like we're starting to really just we're starting to catch up with that 50-day, and the EMA is just now starting to point down. I think, you know, for me personally, I'm kind of waiting this coin to see if it can start correcting itself back to this 50-day. And if it touches that 50-day, I wouldn't have an issue buying around those levels, because at that point it could certainly indicate you know, a good buy level, being that it's so low there right along the 50-day. Then you look at this RSI, it's starting to head down. You can see even the RSI is pointed down right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Tron. It doesn't have much history. I think that's one of the other reasons that I've stayed a little bit cautious about it. You know, it's still not available on a lot of exchanges, so I think I'm going to continue to watch this trend and see how it goes. It's obviously not a bull flag at this point. It's continuously going down. It's now, you know, a descending trend for sure. So that's what I would say with Tron. You know, there are a couple points in its pattern that, you know, showed that it possibly could have had a breakout, but I think this is really where things slipped up when we broke past this and we kind of had that landslide drop below these levels. So I think that's where we kind of, you know, validated that this is going to start descending down. So I like Tron. However, at this point, you know, there's no real clear support levels in my opinion. We're starting to knock its way down. If you're currently holding Tron, you know, there's nothing ever wrong with holding a coin, even at these low levels. You know, depending on how you feel about it, how much of a percentage of your portfolio is allocated towards that asset, it's more of a personal preference whether you want to let go of a coin or not, because you can always utilize those assets and that capital to invest in other coins and potentially get gains. But at the same time, being at this coin is at such a low level, even looking at the 1 hour, you can see RSI is just completely rock bottom, under 30 down here. Then it's certainly a coin that could potentially have some more breakouts and see prices head up, because nothing ever just only goes down or only goes up. So it's really up to you. It's personal preference on whether or not you want to keep holding on to your Tron. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you guys are watching this after the live stream, our Patreon link is in the description below. You can get your instant trade alerts and you can get into our night owls. And then our Discord link is in the description below. If you guys want to access the community and talk with your fellow peers, then you guys are more than welcome to. But thank you guys for watching this, and let's get started with the live stream. So who do we got online now? Let's get to the fun part. So first and foremost, did you guys enjoy that style? Did you guys enjoy the fact that we did the initial video first, so that for those of you that end up watching this after, you guys can actually get all of those analysis right from the beginning and not have to wait throughout the whole live stream? And now, not only that, I can stop appeasing to all of the viewers that watch after the live stream, because right now we're averaging about 20,000 views outside of the live stream. So it's necessary for me to at least accommodate to that in some form. But now I can also accommodate to you guys and just do complete user interaction here without any sort of worry that, you know, it's going to be kind of detrimental to those that just want to get those technical analysis. And I know some of you guys are still watching this after the live stream, so that's good too. You guys can engage and see what you missed out on. So hopefully this works out. Les Tidwell said yes. Tony Mai said yes, love the style. Luke Egan, new format is great. Awesome. Give a shout out to our new mods here. We got Ramo in the house. Claude, good to have you, brother. Man, Claude is always up. I feel like he's a night owl. We named it after Claude. So This is awesome. We got Chris Young, Andre's in the house. Who else is here? Dan Christea, Kevin McMormick. What's up, man? I'm always gonna remember that last name, McMormick. Brian Montano, I like it. Gary Goodfella. What platform is that? This is TradingView. If you're talking about what platform is this is Discord. So to be honest with you, I love Discord, and I'm going to start updating a lot of this stuff here for you guys to make sure we can get this at a higher notch. And for those of you that want to come to our night out after the live stream, we're going to be here under Voice 1, and we're going to be we're going to be under Night Owl here. So it's going to be where Matt 187 is, and you guys can plug in your mic, ask questions. This is open to everyone, not just Patreons tonight. You know, every now and then we want to be able to access the full community. So feel free to join into that tonight. I think that would be fun for a lot of us. So let's go ahead and take some requests, take some questions. Now that we've done like what 5 coins right from the start, I think we should take some questions first. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask. Who else do we have here? Joe F is in the house. We'll look at getting back into Tron when it drops below 0.04 if there's more promise from this token in the near term. Interesting. Cool, man. Let's see here. Somebody said Vibe will advertise during the Super Bowl. Watch for the jump. Chuck Adams said Vibe will advertise during the Super Bowl. If that's the case, guys, so let me teach you guys something really quick. So what we just saw, I don't know who Chuck Adams is. I don't know if this is Chuck Norris or is it really Chuck Adams. Maybe it's just a fake name. Maybe it is Chuck Adams. Maybe Chuck is Chuck, you know. But this viewer, one of our snipers here, says there is going to be an advertisement on the Super Bowl for Vibe. And remember what I always say, buy the hype, sell the news. And what would the news be considered? The news would be considered the actual coin being on the Super Bowl, and that's when you want to sell, right? So you don't want to buy during the Super Bowl. You want to buy before the Super Bowl and sell during the Super Bowl, right? So if this is true, which I'm going to look it up, I will potentially put a position in Vibe, and I'll also do some technical analysis, but this is a fundamental analysis that just occurred. See, and that's why I love having this community, because I don't know if this is right or wrong. It might be completely wrong, but at least I want you guys to get an idea of what it means of buying the hype. Like, you hear something and you're like, if that really happened, things would go really well for this coin. Let me look more into this hype. Is this hype real or not? And that's how you do these fundamental analysis and buy the hype, and that's how you can take advantage of these huge run-ups before they occur, and then you can sell with huge profits and not have to worry about whether or not you're going to stay in profit or not, because you're buying at these levels that it's just hype. There's not many people that really know about it yet. So I'm going to write down my notes right now. Vibe Super Bowl research in my to-do list. So I'm going to look that up, and then if that's the case, then I think that's awesome. I'll probably invest in it, because that right there is a fundamental aspect of trading. You know, if that happens, then yeah, of course things are going to, you know, if it's on the Super Bowl, I mean, that's, give me a break. Like, that's going to do a lot. So hopefully that helped you out just a bit. And now we are going to take some more questions. So hopefully that sheds some light on some of you guys. Naeem, I'd value your thoughts on Simple Token OST if corrected tonight, along with most of the alt market. It corrected. Sorry, that was my fault. It corrected tonight along with most of the altcoin market. Yes, thank you so much for the super chat as well, Claude. We will look at OST super, and let's go ahead and see what else is going on here. Somebody said, Vert-minded, what are some dividend yielding coins do you believe have potential? I'm liking Neo so far. I think, so I don't know if you guys know this, but more money in the stock market is made through dividends than actual stocks, because dividends can really be a big payout. And if you really think about even Bitcoin, right? If you would have held Bitcoin through all of the forks, which almost act like dividends, then you would have been very profitable and very happy with your Bitcoin investment, because you would have Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond, which actually gave you 10 coins for every 1 Bitcoin you had, because of its, you know, it increased its supply. And then you would have gotten Bitcoin Cash. You would have gotten all of these coins, and it would have all been dividends paid out to you. So that's how stock markets work. I think that's a great question about NEO. To be quite frank with you, I haven't done 100% due diligence on what is the best dividend coin, so I don't want to speak for something that isn't, you know, necessarily 100% researched yet. So I think that's a great question. I think I will definitely look into that, and then maybe I can post something like that on our Discord or something around that nature. If somebody can post that on Discord, that would be awesome as well. So I think that's a great question. Loud. Who else do we got here? Robert 9, Jeremy Bates, Paul Little, Tim Duncan, Andre Mosco, Jose Juan Espejel Gonzalez. Can you please do Steam? That's probably the first time I've gotten a Steam request. So Mubarak Goraya said no info on Vibe being on Super Bowl. Well, there you go. Now there are a lot of resources you should check. I don't know if it's possible to check that fast, Mr. Mubarak, but you know, for me, typically, if I'm looking to see what resources are available, I'm checking all throughout Reddit. I think Reddit's probably the best place to look at because there's a lot of news there that is almost hidden. And then, you know, there's a ton of other places you can look at, you know, utilizing even just Google keywords, trying to see if there's anything that searches and pulls up with the SEO that you type in. So we'll put up the 1 minute chart here for Bitcoins while we're taking these questions here. Somebody said, let's see, Crypto Bobby in the house said, do you still hold Komodo at Sniper's Tube? I am, yes, I believe so. I believe I am holding Komodo. I haven't really touched my portfolio just yet that I started January with, because I pretty much got myself good positions there. And, you know, I know we've seen a lot of decline, you know, even with Ripple. I think it would have been wise to rebalance my portfolio, but I truly wasn't, you know, I wasn't really in the mood to do that because of the fact that I don't mind my long-term holds going down in value. And what I'll sometimes do is I'll also swing trade what my long-term holds are on different exchanges. So if I'm swing trading Ripple, for example, I'll typically do that on a different exchange outside of my long-term holding. So when you become more dynamic in the market and you learn how to value trade, swing trade, and day trade all at the same time without necessarily mixing it up together, because those are the three types of traders, I think that will really help a lot of you guys squeeze out your profits to really enhance the trading ability that you have, especially in a market that's so volatile like this, because we only got about 8 to 10 months, in my opinion, for this market to really start seeing some stability. And 8 to 10 months from now are when institutional investors are going to be coming into the market, guys. So you have to be cautious of that. Like, know that in 8 to 10 months, you're not going to have the same opportunity you have today. I mean, the fact that you look at the market, we're negative 8%, negative 13%, negative 6%, negative 16, negative 16, negative 10, negative 10, and yesterday these were all green. That's a very opportunistic market that's available to all of you guys. And I highly implore you guys to take advantage of that, because it's not going to always be like this. When institutional money comes in, these traders know what they're doing. They've been trading for a very long time, and they will make sure to take the profits they need to take in the manner that they do so. And that's typically going to be out of retail investors' pockets, which happens quite a bit in the stock market. So hopefully that can help you. Mr. Gormaroth, thank you for the super chat. Sir, can you link a price of set indicators you use along with explanations? Yes, for sure. I use several different indicators. I like to use the 3 moving averages, the EMA, the volume, the RSI during my live streams and videos, because I feel like that is simple for a lot of people. Another indicator I like to use, by the way, did you guys enjoy that Fibonacci video today? Who enjoyed that Fibonacci video? I'll be honest with you, I learned a lot. I didn't know, I've never seen who Fibonacci was. I learned that for the first time. I didn't know much about his background. I didn't know he did the stuff with the Eiffel Tower and stuff. I think that was an awesome, I thought that was an awesome video. And I love using this auto fib because it does it all for you. But if you don't have the paid version of TradingView, you guys can always just click this right here on the left hand side, click Fibonacci retracement, and then in order to get this properly, go to a peak point and then go to a low point, and that's how you really draw your Fibonacci. So if we were to draw right around here, you can see this is Fibonacci levels, and you can see even the price will act upon that. So when we draw out this Fibonacci level right here, let's see. So if we were to draw this out, you can see even with this Fibonacci, it does follow it. You can see we found resistance right around this yellow channel. You can see we found support along this blue channel. Now we're actually mixing up our auto fib, and let me delete that. Sorry. So that's a little bit clear. So you can see we're finding support around this. This acted as a channel for a little bit. You can see we peaked out this top level, the 1400 level, and then you can also see a 14,000 level, and then you can also see we found resistance at this bottom level. We're finding more resistance right around this level. So Fibonacci works, guys. It works well. You know, a lot of indicators works, a lot of them don't work at times. So you really have to be dynamic with the indicators that you use. So somebody said yes, yes, yes. Hermel said, Himal Desai said yes. Dunk Edwards in the house. Good to have you, man. Kevin McMorrick said I sure did. Yair Zax in the house. Himal, Old Maid Adley. Peggy Johnson. How do you donate and get your post to stand out like that? Peggy Johnson. I'm not sure. I'm not on your end, I guess. I'm sure it's just a super chat. Yeah. Somebody said, Naeem, why 8 to 10 months for institutional involvement? Explain. So, good question, brother. Who was that? Kevin. So, institutional investors will come into the market typically after it's already established at a higher level. And what I mean by that is, so initially you'll see futures, right? And once you see futures, and if you guys don't know what futures are, I know some of you guys are a little bit newer to this market. Some of you guys have never had market background, so I'd like to, simplify things for a lot of you guys. But a future market, and we'll do the handy dandy Google here. I find that it has a lot more simplistic definitions. A futures market is an auction market in which participants buy and sell commodity and future contracts for delivery on a specified future date. So here's another thing it doesn't mention. For Bitcoin, all futures are cash settled, which means you're not necessarily actually trading the commodity, or in this case, the asset class, which is Bitcoin. You're actually just trading cash settled contracts, and those contracts are obligated to be held and met because they're future contracts, right? So following the future market, you'll typically find ETFs. So ETFs, for example, a variety of derivative products based on exchange traded funds, which is what ETF stands for. ETF futures are contracts that represent an agreement to buy or sell the underlying ETF shares at an agreed upon price on or before a specified date in the future. So with the ETFs, it's almost like a slight variation of what a futures is, right? So the next thing that comes out, and this is a little bit more of, I have a buddy of mine, and he's actually a very skilled options trader. And in options, there's a potential to make a lot of money. So I'll talk a little bit about options here for a sec. So with options, it's almost like a futures contract, but you're not obligated to make that purchase when the date comes up. You have the option to do so, and you still can take advantage of the leveraged funds within that contract that's created. So in finance, an option is a contract which gives the buyer, the owner or holder of the option, the right but not the obligation to buy or sell an underlying asset or instrument at a specified strike price on a specified date, depending on the form of the option. So what that means is you can now leverage your money. So $10,000, depending on what the option contract is, can turn into a leverage of $50,000 or $100,000 that you can potentially make just investing 10,000, or let's say it's 1,000, you might be able to profit into 10,000 because you're buying contracts of groups of shares, and typically it's held to a fixed rate of 100. So interesting. What you should get out of this, because this would get a lot more confusing if we got into more depth, but get this out of this. Options allow you to leverage a lot of money with small initial investments. There's a lot of risk to it. That's for sure. There's a lot of risk to it. There's a lot of reward as well. And that, in my opinion, is going to be an 8 to 10 month process to be established. Once that's established, I think that will give institutional investors the confidence in the market to actually invest in the asset class. And when I say institutional investors, it doesn't mean JP Morgan and so forth. They're probably already investing. However, institutional traders can comprise of small businesses small business owners that have a lot of capital, because there are a lot of businesses that make a lot of money, and it doesn't have to be a business owner. It could be doctors are some of the worst investors, right? Doctors have a lot of money, but they're pretty bad at finance and they end up losing a lot of money. I think they're one of the worst investors. And then behind them is lawyers. So, once again, I think as time progresses, have any of you guys, let's take a quick poll here. Any of you guys ever asked a friend, you ever heard of Bitcoin, or asked somebody, you ever heard of Bitcoin? Like, what type of responses do you guys get? Because I still get similar responses that I used to get even 6 months ago of, yeah, I've heard of that thing. Yeah, I don't know about it. I think it's a little sketchy. I think it's it's had some FUD and whatever people say, but people are not like super into Bitcoin yet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's still a lot more mass adoption potential, and a lot of people are still really skeptical of Bitcoin. So I don't believe we've seen mass market adoption yet. And let's see what people are saying, because this is just my experience. Maybe Florida is the place that, nobody that likes Bitcoin goes to. So now let's see what people are saying. Somebody said, now I'm in the hole. Well, sometimes we always get in the hole. You just have to work your way out of that hole, right? So somebody said, bro, I had the opportunity to buy Tron at 0.002, but I didn't believe in it then. Let me teach you guys something real quick. But we kind of want to take this really quick. Somebody said, yeah, it's too risky. My friend says it's a bubble. Heard of it, but aren't in it. Yup. See, same thing. The sniper's kid doesn't even read comments. The sniper's kids. I don't have any kids, brother. Sorry, Mr. Wilders. Paul Lindsay said, in the house. Brian St. Clair is making moves. I like it. Keep it up, Brian. Somebody said, you don't have to buy a whole coin. Robert 9, that's fun. I didn't get it. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, some people still think you have to buy a full Bitcoin. I don't got $16,000. I can't do that. What's the indicator that shows the 50-day called? Thank you, just a cow. Good question. It's called the 3 moving averages, what I like to use, and then you typically want to set the indicator up. So what you do is you'll double click the actual moving averages, and then you can actually set the input here to 50, 100, and 200 day, and then always input that on the close prices. So somebody said crypto market is a lot like penny stock pump and dump trading. Johnny Tusami. I think it's a little bit more. I think it's a little bit. I see what you're talking about. There are some comparisons for sure, but I also think that it's a little bit more accessible. And not only that, it's a global market, so it's not necessarily directly, comparable to the penny stock market. So somebody said 50-day moving average starting to get traction. .com bubble. Somebody said, Felix Baez said they've heard of it, doesn't seem to understand why would the simplest way what is it to a newbie. Interesting. So here's what I'll tell you guys. This is something I learned really early on, and it's really helped me out. Somebody mentioned that they had the opportunity to buy Tron at 0.002 cents. I want to tell you guys exactly how to never miss those opportunities ever again. And I'll tell you exactly how. And this is a very simple strategy. So most people, if I had a whiteboard, I can totally get this on a whiteboard, but I have a ton of stuff that I needed. I have a to-do list right now on my whiteboard. I don't want to wipe that down. But with any coin, any idea, any company, right? I had a buddy of mine he said around 2000 he was invited to a lot of these conferences, and people were just kind of touting Amazon as this next big marketplace. It's going to be the next big thing. And he said he walked out of the conference, and he said if he would have invested, he would have been a multimillionaire, and he missed that opportunity. So this is what my mindset and philosophy is, and I learned this from one of my mentors who actually made a lot of mistakes before actually becoming successful. He retired and became financially independent at 31 years old. He was 27. He was working and being groomed by the VP of Cisco to become a VP. And at the time, he had just gotten married, just his wife just gotten pregnant, and he decided to start an e-commerce company. And then 8 months later, he retired his wife to stay with the kids, which is, I think every husband should strive to retire their wife, because if you don't, than somebody else is raising your kids. And no offense, but I'm just saying, I think for me, I would feel more comfortable with, you know, my wife raising my kids rather than somebody else, or taking them out somebody, you know. And there's certain, you know, there's certain variations of that. I mean, babysitters come in handy in certain aspects, but I'm just saying, I'd rather have my wife at home, right? She'll probably be happier when I get home anyways, so less arguments, right? But off topic. So my mentor, he told me this. He said, Naeem, and he's very successful in many areas of his life. And he's one of the, you know, one of my most looked upon mentors. And he said, Naeem, you have to understand this. If you don't understand something, as an investor, he was teaching me investments, right? He said, as an investor, if you don't understand something, that doesn't mean it's not a good investment. And he said, there has to be a threshold. So imagine having a pie chart right now in front of you, right? And if you had a pie chart in front of you, you could pretty much determine, let's see if we can even do this right here really quick here. So if you had a pie chart and you were determining what percentage of your investment portfolio should go into this specific asset class or investment, then this is pretty much how it should look. So if it's something that you understand completely, then if you have a 100% understanding of this technology, so there's $2 trillion marketplaces right now that are present. There's augmented reality and cryptocurrency, and there's several others, but those are the two main ones right now. Augmented reality and cryptocurrencies are really where people are focused on for the future, and that also, you know, includes a lot of other things like virtual reality, 3D printing, and stuff of that nature. But I think augmented reality and cryptocurrencies are really the two majors right now. And when you look at those two, you have to understand that there's going to be a lot of ideas and concepts that you're just not going to understand. And if there is something you understand, then my mentor said, feel free to invest up to 50% of your investable capital in that project because you understand it. 50% is fine. You understand it. So here's an example. I bought my first Bitcoin around 2010. I was a machinima YouTube gaming director, producing gaming content on YouTube. I had created a form of success, some people can call it, on YouTube, and I was, you know, doing well on YouTube, just making gaming videos, following my passion, and I was overweight, and I hated it. So I stopped playing games. I went out, and I went and ran and ran and ran and ran and ate a lot of salad and turkey salad and whatever, and I lost a ton of weight in 3 months, about almost 100 pounds, and I stopped, you know, getting on YouTube, and then I'd, you know, started a couple businesses after that, and then around 2014 is really when I saw Bitcoin come back to the market, and I'm like, oh wow, this is interesting. Like, this thing is, you know, it hit 1,000. I think it was around 1,000 at that time, and it corrected back to 300, and it was just doing all sorts of stuff, and it was a little bit more interesting, and I started watching it as an investment. I was like, if I just buy this, because I was currently doing traditional market trading. So coming out of YouTube, I started trading traditional markets. I'd gotten into Forex. I've done penny stocks. I've done the marijuana stocks that were hyped up, and then I found out it was completely false. They were literally posting warehouse pictures in Canada that were completely wrong for 7 months, updating their Twitter, you know. So I learned a lot of lessons, went through a lot of failure. I had no money at the time to my name. I was working full time. And I literally was just tired of having to go home and focus on paying bills, and that's it. That's all I like. It was just bills, work, bills, work, bills, work, and then maybe one night of Naeem time, right? So I got frustrated, and I was like, you know what? This trading thing is not getting me the results I want. I mean, I'm making money. You know, I eventually, you know, reached out to mentors, and I started understanding patterns. You know, I started with the head and shoulder and the cup and handle. Those were the first two patterns I started with. It's actually the first two patterns I started teaching too, because those were the two I started with, and I figured I just follow the process I follow because I think it's done well for me, and I'm satisfied with the results I've gotten, and I continue to learn more. So, you know, coming into that, I made the decision, I'm going to liquidate all of my traditional assets and put it into crypto because of the volatility that I saw. Once I saw that volatility, here's what I knew. This is where my mentor said, Naeem, 50% can go towards an idea or a concept or a system that you understand. He said, now, if it's something that you vaguely understand, like you understand the concept, but you don't understand it completely, you're not delved into it, you're not dived into it. He said, only risk 30%. Only risk 30%. He's like, don't invest more than 30%. Because if you don't understand it, you don't understand it. Like, but you have an idea of it. So I'll give you an example. Augmented reality. I have an idea of augmented reality. I am looking at certain companies that I can potentially invest in for augmented reality. Bitcoin mining, right? Mining software. I was recently with some buddies that I had ran into, and they were all from Venezuela, and they had all these miners, Litecoin miners, and they were showing me $40,000 a month on Litecoin miners. This was 2 days ago. I'd made a video with them too, and I ended up losing my phone, so I don't have that video anymore, but I was going to post a video on Sniper's Tube about it, about the mining software that they were telling me about. And you know, I started learning more about mining, and now I feel like I am, you know, confident that I at least can invest about 30% into mining. I wouldn't invest 50%. I don't understand it the way I understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and trading the way I do now. So here's the other caveat to that. If you don't understand something, only invest up to 10%. And this is a huge lesson. And when I say invest, let's say you're making $40,000 a year. Out of that, you have $30,000 in expenses. You have $5,000 of vacation money. Then now you have $5,000 extra dollars that, instead of going out Friday night and drinking a beer or going out to the bar with friends or going to the club, or maybe do other stuff, maybe go paintballing or go to the, you know, whatever, and spending your money, you're like, let me invest this money. Let me invest this additional $5,000, you know, throughout a year in something, right? So out of that $5,000, now you can split it up into other asset classes to invest in. So 50% of that should go to something that you fully understand. If you don't understand Bitcoin, you shouldn't invest in it, or at least invest 50% in it. Now, if you have a full understanding of real estate, maybe that $5,000, I don't know how much you can do with $5,000 in real estate, but maybe that $5,000 should go towards, the point is, something you understand. 30% can go towards something that you vaguely understand, and then 10% can go towards something that you don't understand, but it's there. And why do I say this? This is why I say this. In 2010, if you would have been approached about Bitcoin and somebody said, hey, this is the future currency, and you're aware of your surroundings, and you say, really? Could you tell me about it? Oh, well, it's on the distributed ledger, it has a blockchain, you know, it's decentralized and it's not centralized. And you're like, okay, I understand nothing this guy just said. That's fine. What if you invested 10% in that asset class just because you heard of it, right? And if it's not 10%, it can be under 10%, 5%. If you would have put $5 in Bitcoin when it was worth pennies, you would have still been pretty satisfied today. You would have made thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars with maybe even a $10 or $100 investment. So if you invest in something like Tron, for example, you said I had the opportunity to buy Tron at 0.002. So if you had the opportunity, why didn't you take advantage of it? And this is why. And I'm not talking directly to the individual that commented that, I'm talking about in general, because I've made this mistake before. So here's what people do. They only think they can invest. This is a big mistake. People think they can only invest a big portion of money in whatever they're investing in because they're only going to make large returns if they invest that portion of money. They're too stubborn to look at a higher perspective and say, I have this amount of assets, let me split this up into multiple different diversified investments, and then do that properly. Don't go 50% on something you don't understand. Go 10% on something you understand. Then you have that extra 10% to invest in something else you don't understand. Because remember, that was 50%, 30%, 10%. There's an extra 10%. That's another asset class you can invest in. Now, if it gets under 10%, I hope you have a lot of assets to invest, because now you can start getting into those low ranges where the returns don't really, you need some crazy returns to really make something worthwhile. So understanding that concept, I hope it helps out a little bit. This was something my mentor taught me, and I've never really expressed it or taught it, but I felt like that was necessary from that question. And I hope I taught it well, and maybe in the future I can teach it better. But did that help out a little bit, guys? I hope that helped out. Let's take some questions here. Somebody said 10%, but everyone's trying to hit a home run. Yeah. 6'4" GG said no. You know what happens to people that say no? Bye bye. Put user in timeout. We'll put him in the corner and we'll put the little cone hat on him and he'll have to sit there watching the wall. Somebody said, Naeem, preach. Take $100 and put $10 in 10 cheap cryptos. One's bound to make it. Exactly. Good mindset. I love it, Josiah. I love that. Even with $100, you can do something, right? You look at those really small coins. So somebody said, hello, Naeem. Can you look at the pre-search project? I can't just do that on a live stream. Snipers, is Tron dying? I don't know if Tron is dying. Casual Germ said LOL. Robo said haha. What's so funny? How do you go about creating a crypto portfolio? How can you tell when you're too diversified? I think too diversified, I don't believe there's too diversified. You know, you can get very diversified and it's an uncontrollable portfolio, but you want to make sure you have investments in the right areas. Somebody said he got sniped. Kevin McMormick had an awesome question. Really? 10%, I like that. Was it on the super chat? Let me see if it was on the super chat. Yeah, we do have some super chats, so we'll take that. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. Somebody said, you are a true entrepreneur. You think just like me. Thank you, man. You think just like me too. Naeem, how do we never miss out on a coin again? I don't think that's possible. I think that's more of a that shouldn't be your mindset. Your mindset shouldn't be, how do I never miss out on a coin ever again, right? Because if you have that mindset, it's almost like saying, like, how do I like never miss out on my next like relationship, right? Like, how could I never miss out on the next person I'm gonna, you know, date? Like, you can't just not like it's impossible to just do it all. Like, you have to focus. It's almost like a light bulb versus a laser, right? I was having dinner today with an individual, and I, just for privacy reasons, you know, but he owns several multi-million-dollar companies today, and you know, he's in a position, very good position, and we were talking about crypto and a lot of other things, and he had mentioned this to me, and he brought back this thing that one of my other mentors had taught me. And you know, I try to get around people that are at higher levels than me all the time, because it helps, and it truly, I mean, if you're not doing that, then that's step number one to succeeding in anything, whether it's the market or nothing else. Because if you're lazy every single day, you're not going to do good in the market, because you need to be proactive, optimistic, and not necessarily optimistic. I consider myself more of a realist, not an optimist or a pessimistic individual. However, as a realist, I can look at the logical sense of things. And he'd remind him, he said, Naeem, understand this. He's like, you need to be able to be like a laser. You can't be a light bulb. The light bulb, it distributes light everywhere, and it's not powerful, but a laser can cut through things. And it can cut through things because it's the same exact light, but it's focused light. So if you can focus, then you can have better relationships. You can have better trading. You can have better investments. You can have better everything, better companies, better jobs, better roles, because you're focused on that one specific thing. So then you end up doing all of that stuff around that one thing, all the nuances that are often overlooked in a general aspect view. But now, because you have this focus, you don't overlook any nuances, and you take advantage of the full opportunity at hand. So hopefully that helps out a little bit. Paul Little said, the things he just said are worth more than a semester in business school. I feel very, very, I feel very, I'm humbled by that. Thank you, brother. It means a lot. How long I took for you to get somewhat confident with day trades, Mike Smith? It took me about 6 months to 1 year to really get confident. I think because my first 3 to 6 months were kind of rough. And then when I started seeking a mentor after about 3 months, I was able to really gain more confidence because I only knew 2 patterns. So my confidence came from my head and shoulders and my cup and handles, right? And it didn't always work, but it was my confidence because I was looking for something. I think confidence is when you're looking for something, right? Because when you're looking for something, it automatically gives you and breeds that confidence. How do you meet all these people at higher levels than you? Azam Khan. Here's something my mentor taught me. He said, Naeem, if you seek for something or you seek for an answer, you will get an answer. He's like, you just need to know what you're seeking for. So I've always seeked out other mentors, other people that could help me. Precision, hey bro, why don't you make YouTube tutorials on day trading? Trust me, bro. Precision, you're new tonight. By the way, if you guys want to talk to me and talk to my our moderators and talk to our our Patreons and all of our exclusive access members, and you guys want to have more of a dialogue conversation, not just a one-way conversation, we're all going to be in our Discord tonight under Night Owl. So after this live stream, we're all going to head here to Night Owl, and we're going to have a more uncensored, deeper conversation about cryptocurrencies and where the market is headed in, honestly, the next 6 months. So I think 12 months is a little bit far-fetched, but 6 months I have an idea of where things are headed, especially after the dinner I had tonight. I'm going to share some things that we kind of conceived of together, being that he's a very successful business owner, and I've got the knowledge that I have with crypto to a certain extent, and we were able to conglomerate that together and really create some great predictions. And I think I'd love to share those with you guys. So if you guys are not on Discord, the link is in the description. You also have all of our charts here. You guys can actually look at these charts. We have all these areas that you guys can chat through. So it's not just for the Night Owl, but I highly recommend all of you new people there. I'd love to meet you guys tonight. So I think we just hit over 19,000 members, so we're growing like wildfire. And let's take some quick questions here. Paul Little said, you'd be surprised the value networking can bring to you. Mark Zuckerberg said, it's not about anything today but your network, because your network is going to be a reflection of your net worth, and your net worth is also a reflection of how much impact you can make in any community, society, or charitable cause. So when will Bitcoin drop to $5 so I can buy some? That is hilarious. What coins do you hold, bro? Just some off the top of my mind. Majority portfolio right now is in Bitcoin and Ethereum, being that Ethereum is one of the most diversified asset classes in crypto because of the fact that ERC20 tokens are what ICOs are built upon, where most coins are built on ERC20 tokens. So it automatically has that division within its coin. So it almost acts like the NASDAQ, right? So the NASDAQ has all of these technology companies under it. You've got Apple, you've got Amazon, you've got all these companies under the NASDAQ, and you also have Ethereum, right? So Ethereum is under, or Ethereum has all these other like coins, like Omisco, right? And all these other coins are built on ERC20 tokens. So I think that's, hopefully that answers a little bit of your question. Somebody said, let's make a Patreon coin. I don't know if that would help. Let's look at the super chats, guys. I know we got some awesome super chats. Tron officially announced partnership with Alibaba. Now Tron to Moon. Could somebody look that up? Somebody look that up. Let's pull up Tron's chart one more time. Oh, that might be true. Look at that, guys. Somebody pull up Tron. Could somebody find out? Sorry. Could somebody find out about Tron really quick? Because it looks like it just broke out of the support level or this resistance level. So, hold on. Let me do some analysis here. Could somebody verify that? Paul Little said, not even going to check, so many rumors. But that's where you want to buy. You want to buy at the rumors. See, not checking is what hinders your trading. Sorry to put it to you like that, Paul. I love you, man. But, dude, I'm telling you, you have to buy at the hype, sell at the news. Don't sell Tron when the news in China is all about Alibaba partnering with Tron. Buy it now and then sell when the news comes out. Ken P said, buy now, not kidding. Are you saying that because you have a lot of Tron that you bought at the peak and you just want it to go up? I'm just kidding, man. What am I doing here? Let's pull up the auto fib here really quick. I want to see something. I want to see where we're at on fib levels. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. If this starts heading back, so check this out. Something you should do when you have your auto fib on. Let me actually, yeah, let's just leave it like that. What we'll actually do is we'll draw out the actually we'll use the Fibonacci retracement so we can do futures. So if we do this right here, what I'll show you guys with Tron, we'll pull up the fib retracement. If you guys don't know how to use this, go to peak. Make sure not to use the top of the candle. Do the candle wicks, which is the extra part at the top. But you want to draw this as accurately as possible. And then the lowest point looks to be right around there. So it looks like, wow. Okay. And then if you double click this Fibonacci retracement, you can click extend lines and it goes all the way to the right hand side. And when it's at that right hand side, you can really get a deeper view on where things are headed. Okay, this is interesting, because now we're bouncing on this green channel, which we haven't seen that before. It broke through it once, but it didn't stay within this channel. So there may be a potential breakout right here live on Sniper Sue, guys. Let's see what people said. Not rumors. They just released a Medium post about it. Buy the rumors, sell the news. Somebody said fake news. Is it wrong or right? Tron Twitter doesn't say anything. There's a lot of selling pressure at the moment. Such a lie. It will be on Justin Sun's Twitter. Fake. Somebody said fake. VEN just released an official statement about the tobacco thing in China. What was the VEN thing? What was the VEN thing? Man, we're gonna start doing these live streams all about what is the rumors around right now. Why don't we do that? Every live stream, we'll just talk about rumors and hype and then search for it, see if it's valid, look at the technical, and then analyze the fundamental and technical side by side and make the trade all together. That does not sound good, actually. We don't need to make the trade all together, but we can do that analysis. Should we do that, guys? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's collaborative intelligence. I think that'd be awesome. This is fun. Adam Frederick said, haha, we should. Loud said, haha, yes. Somebody said, create FOMO, lol. And then we end up with like 60,000 live viewers every night. Imagine that. It's like the fight against the whales, right? You know, cryptos aren't considered. I was talking to my lawyer today, or not today. This was 3 days ago, and she was telling me that bitcoins are not considered securities right now. Laws are changing as we speak, but they're currently not considered as securities, so they're not applicable to security laws. So I think that was good news. So Justin Suntron, more. We have officially filed the application to the financial regulators in Japan. Several Japanese exchanges will list us once the application is approved by the government. Tron has announced a major partnership with the firm it calls the Chinese Netflix, a move that some say could set the project up for even more. I think that's not necessarily the type of hype I would be looking for. It looks like there is, I mean, for some reason the volume just increased out of nowhere. So interesting. Some people mad they bought at the top. So what's up with VEN? Justin also said the company had to announce it before he does because of the nature of their relationship. Interesting. That could be true. Somebody said, let's wait 5 minutes. If the candle that doubles, I'll believe it. Interesting. Justin tweeted something, but he tweets all kinds of BS to try to hype it up. He is more, to me, he's a sanguine. If you guys know personality types, there's sanguine, melancholy, phlegmatic, and choleric. I think he's more of a sanguine personality where, you know, he'll just kind of say things that maybe aren't necessarily true yet, or he'll, you know, really hype things up. We're about to break that top Fibonacci level right now. This is going to be interesting, because I mean, we've seen this happen before and it continues to decline, but I was just interested because of that news that just popped up. Tron is partnering with Chinese Netflix. Justin also said the company had to announce it before he does because of the nature of the relationship. Interesting, guys. So here's one thing I do want to mention about Tron, though. We talked about it today in the analysis. If you do the 1 day, we're still far from this 50-day. So being that we're far from this 50-day, you know, if there was like real hyped news, maybe I would potentially consider it. But even with news, we're still at high levels if you really think about it. There's still a lot of people that want to sell their coins. I know a lot of people right now that have Tron that were bought around these levels that they haven't been able to sell yet. So even with those levels, you know, being that the EMA is starting to point down on the 1 day and the RSI is still above 50, you know, I would want, just because it's partnering with the Chinese Netflix, that really wouldn't be a big reason. If it was Alibaba, that would be a whole different ballgame. Alibaba is one of the largest. Alibaba did the most revenue in the world. You know, the e-commerce marketplace is pretty much run by Alibaba. You know, a lot of people will, you know, talk to different suppliers and stuff there. I used to do that too when I did e-commerce. So, you know, that would have been a huge deal. It's almost like they partnered with Amazon, right? So if they partnered with Amazon, that's definitely a big deal. But it doesn't seem like that was true based on what a lot of people said. And I'll obviously do my due diligence, but we'll see. Somebody said his dad is Alibaba. Found the article that points at Alibaba and Chinese Netflix. Interesting. Could you post it, Joe? Somebody said, I'm half tempted to sell my Tron and wait for it to drop 5 cents. Somebody said, Linda to the moon. Everybody's saying Linda to the moon. Man, this guy is 20. It seems like he's done everything. Galanoff. Good assumption, brother. Tron will not drop to 5 cents. No one talks about Zencash. Why don't we do some quick technicals, guys? Any requests? Anybody want to look at some requests? What coins you guys want to look at? Somebody said Lisk. Let's see here. Craig Lambert, thanks for all that you do, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Esteban La Casa, amigo, Sidecoin. Let's do Sidecoin real quick. Sidecoin, SCBTC. 1967 Super G, you said ICX. Josiah said, I'd like to see Iota in relation to ETH. The success of Siren Labs is tied to Iota because SRN appears to be upon it through a partnership. Interesting. Chris Perkins, how would you start swing trading with $1,000 balance using an aggressive approach to try to maximize gains? I have a really good answer to that one, Chris. Tips to lose the fear of day trading. Subcoin, please. All right, awesome. Mike Smith said Digibyte. Willie Mo said Nebulo. Adam C said Blue. Nosa said apparently Tron is moving a bit now. That was the 1 minute, so don't get too optimistic. Azam said you have a bright future, bro. Thank you, man. Hopefully my eyesight doesn't get too bright. That would be a stigmatism, right? Not necessarily. A stigmatism has nothing to do with brightness. But thank you, brother. I was trying to make a joke with that, but that didn't work out. Somebody said BTD. Thank you, Ali. Good request. Coach K. What did Coach K said? Coach K, he's an OG. Said LTC. Good one. Priam said, are my messages not visible? Somebody said, dude, answer that question, LOL. Which question? Which question? I don't even know what question you're talking about. By the way, shout out to our mods. They're doing such a good job tonight. You guys are awesome, and you guys are doing a great job. So let's look at Sidecoin really quick, and we'll take some more requests. And then once again, for those of you that don't know, tonight we have our Night Owl. This will be open to all of our viewers. You guys can come in here, ask me questions. If you have your mic plugged in, there's the Discord app, which is available on your mobile, your desktop, and your web. So you can use this on any platform, and there's no ads on this. We also have these resources here for you guys to chat on a day-to-day basis about all the hype that's going on, all the rumors, so you guys can get all of your information straight from the community, straight from the source, not have to wait for it to get on the news, so you can buy at the hype, sell at the news. And then if you go up here, we also have the news tab where it's constantly updated with news. If you guys want to talk about mining, charts, if you guys want to see potential breakouts from the community, and we actually have analysts here that post their own charts daily. So you can see we just had this new chart post up today for ETH BTC. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful cup and handle. What is that? That looks like, okay, nice. Discord is in the description. Discord is in the description. You just have to click the invite link. Somebody said, you rock, ADA please. What time zone? I'm in Eastern Standard Time. I know it's really late. Alright, so we'll do Sidecoin and then we'll double dip here and do ETH BTC as well. So let's see what's popping here with ETH. What's going on? What's all the hype about? What's all the hype about? Wow. Look at that, baby. That is a beautiful cup and handle. You know what this is? This is a breakout. If you guys don't know what a cup and handle is, let's see if anybody posted on breakout. Did anybody post this on breakout yet? No one posted this on breakout. Oh my gosh. I'll be the first one to post it here. copy, breakout, paste. Oh, maybe somebody posted it. No, this is GBY. Neo. Somebody posted a Neo breakout. Credits to @Foster. Good job, Foster. So VIP access here. We have a ton of requests that we got to take. And then, yeah, so this is a cup and handle, guys. If you guys want to see how this looks, what happens in a cup and handle, I'll show you two different types. Let's go ahead and first pull up this one right here. Cup and handle. Initial increase in price, followed by a bit of consolidation that rounds about. Almost looks like a rounding bottom, which looks like this. But this is coming from a decline. That's the difference. This is coming from an incline. And then you see this round out. And then you see a minor consolidation halfway through, typically, of the cup. And then breakout happens right over here. This chart will actually show you exactly where the breakout occurs. But breakout typically occurs right on this level. So cup and handle pattern gets its name from the obvious pattern it makes on the chart. The cup is a curved U shape while the handle slopes slightly downwards. In general, the right hand side of the diagram has low trading volume and can last from 7 weeks up to around 65 weeks. In the crypto market, obviously time is increased and is sped up. So you can utilize these patterns in different ways. But yeah, you got the base formed right down here. You've got initial breakout. Looks like we're forming breakout right here on this right hand side. We get the full-on cup right around here. So right here, guys, cup and handle. So beautiful chart. And I know Ethereum has seen this huge buy volumes come out of nowhere with a lot less sell volume following. So volume's obviously decreasing at this point, but looks like it's seeing a lot of volume compared to what it was seeing back here, where nobody was really paying attention to it. Once it hit this rock bottom, now people are seeing that the reversal can potentially be a place for this coin to rise. So interesting coin right there. Somebody said, I want to make 350. Awesome. Good for you, brother. Good stuff. So looks like the mods are doing very well with what they're also setting up here for the Discord. And let's go ahead. Landcrete said, Naeem, I want to be a Diamond Patreon. Respond to my message later on Facebook if you see. Okay, I don't think there's any spots left for that. There may be a potential one that can be added soon, but or I might have one available. I'm not sure, but anyways, yeah, I'll try my best to look. The best place to message me right now, I would say, is probably, I mean, to be honest, message me on, Discord would be good. Oh, wow, we got tons of new Patreons tonight, guys. Shout out to Asher Yona. Shout out to Jarrett Johnson, Basil Ansari, Lindley Pillai, Hans Nielsen, Frank Dang, Richie Rich, Caleb Powell, Starrett Smith, Con Magorilos, Milis Silem, and Tassisios Didimotis, and Tansu Yajen. All of you guys are going to be getting the trade alerts. And then Alcald, you'll also be, you're a Ruby, so you'll get the Night Owls and the trade alerts, as well as our weekly newsletter. So actually, it's our weekly podcast. So with ETH, obviously, saw that cup and handle. Let's go ahead and zoom back in here to this full 1 day here really quick. And let's go ahead and see here how this is forming up with Litecoin. I like this chart because the one thing I see here is the fact that if we pull up the 1 day, you can see we're just now starting to move away from this 50. And if we look at percentage, we're 109% up. So I like this chart because it's obviously showing you that price levels are high at this point, but the question is, how high can it go? Now, being at these high RSI levels, I wouldn't ever suggest anybody buys at these levels, just because of the fact that in a technical sense, it's not necessarily the best coin to get a buy position in at these price levels, because of the fact that it's seeing such a parabolic amount of growth at this present time, in which you can find better prices at discounts to really obtain this coin, rather than paying these high price levels and then possibly regretting it in the future. But if you are holding Litecoin, there is a good potential for you to purchase. Now, let me show you guys something that can also help you. So you can see here when RSI levels peaked out twice, you can see this is really where we peaked out within one block. You see that we have these blocks here that represent 1 month. So you see in 1 month, in a 30-day time period, we double peaked, and that's where we saw the consolidation. And even right here, we double peaked and saw the consolidation. And then some of you guys might ask, well, why aren't we going as high as we did here if it's later in the market? Isn't there more money in the market? There may be more money, but look, the volume here was more than it is now. So there's less volume. There's more indicators that this has peaked out already. I wouldn't really suggest much. You know, I would want to watch this a little bit more. But as you can see, volume here was a lot more substantial, which is why we saw those higher volumes. David Smith, love your commitment to teaching, Naeem. Thank you, David. I appreciate that, man. I love teaching because I feel like you can impact more teaching, and I would never want to be sitting in a classroom teaching. I want to do it on my terms because I want to be able to speak what I believe in and speak what I've learned. So that's why I love teaching. So somebody said, how do you spell Litecoin? Oh my gosh, now I feel like a kindergarten teacher. It's S-I-A-C-O-I-N. There you go, brother. Hopefully that popped out. How do I get on Patreon? I'll post the link. There you go. How to learn to stop taking losses. Nebulo is killing me. Jack Sparrow, I don't know what's going on with your portfolio, man. I hope that something, you know, could be fixed there. I don't know what that could be. It says video output is low. What the heck is going on here? Ty said, can I sleep or do I need to stay up and watch Ether Cup and handle? If you just put a position in and you want to sleep, I would say set up a stop loss. If you can set up a stop loss, that can give you a little bit more confidence in, you know, your trade there. So hopefully that assists you in some way. Somebody said, how do you set your RSI on TradingView? I can't get it to work on mine. You click insert indicator. After you right click on the graph, you go to technical analysis, or you can just type it in here, relative strength index, and then I would favorite it. It'll all show up here. These are my favorites, and that hopefully can help out. Somebody said, can you analyze Nebulo? ICX Summit on the 31st. Kin. Dent. Hi Lee. We got a lot of foreigners here. Who's here from what countries? Let's see what countries we have on the live stream right now. How to add you on Discord. You just click the link and you can get on Discord. We got tons of new members today, which is awesome. And we're all going to be here under Night Owl. So if you guys want to get on the Night Owl, we're all going to be under Night Owl. And then we can actually go ahead and start that up soon. So we'll be getting that started here. Let me look at some things. Philippines, Australia, India, Brazil, Australia, Colombia, New Zealand, USA. Just kidding. Canada. I love Canada. France. Nice, Joe. Fatal Furies that I just bought a lot of TRX. George, UK. I might be going there soon. America currently in Capocingria. Nice. Matt Brozick. Aussie. Oi. I love it, man. That's awesome, man. You got those kangaroos out there too, so pretty much enjoying that. We do have a couple requests here. So Josiah said, I'd like to see Iota in relation to ETH. All right, we'll do IoT ETH. The success of Siren Labs is tied to Iota because SRN appears to be upon it through a partnership. So what we'll do then is we'll pull up the double chart here and then do SRN too, and then see if we can see a correlation. SRN ETH. Oh, apparently that's not. Is that listed on this? Siren Labs? What is that listed on? Liquid and Bancore Ether Delta. Okay. Interesting. That's a small coin. It's really small. For those of you looking to make smaller purchases, you know, that could potentially be something. If it is tied together, I would do more due diligence on that. Looks like we found support for a while and then dropped below, which doesn't seem like the best thing in the world. Volume is not really too high right now. Once again, if you do IoT BTC, you can see it's a little bit of a different type of chart. IoT. Let me see something really quick. Okay, so there's not much volume on either chart, which is interesting. Let's see if you do IoT USD. Yeah, Iota has been pretty under the radar. This could be a potential play soon. Look at that, guys. Wow, this is interesting because look at the 50-day. Look at the 50-day. We are way under the 50-day. This could be a potential breakout. Nobody has really been looking at Iota. I don't like Iota as a long-term hold. I'll tell you that right now. The fact that they have the Tangle network, they created their own Tangle blockchain, and that's unheard of in crypto. You don't create your own, you don't create your own, like literally, you're creating your own cryptography. Like it's just not, it's unheard of. You typically need to get that approved by MIT and stuff like that. It's peer reviewed. They got SHA 256, stuff like that, and creating your own is a little bit unheard of. But RSI is super low. Doesn't mean it's because it's a bad project. A lot of people still believe in it, so doesn't necessarily mean anything negative in a sense. There still can be some positives to it. What I would say in this case though, EMA looks like it's starting to curve just a bit. Let's go ahead and look at a little bit of so I like the 1-day chart, that's for sure. Let's pull up the 1 hour. Oh my gosh, I really like the 1 hour. Okay, this is nice. I like this a lot. Thank you for requesting this, brother. I like this. This is, for me, I call this a squeeze. When you see this, it's a squeeze. Squeezes are really good. That's what I'll tell you. Look what happens when you see a squeeze. This is what happens when you see a squeeze. So this was another squeeze that occurred. I remember this squeeze with Iota. So typically when there's a squeeze, pressure builds. Once that pressure builds, it pops. So looks like we're squeezing up right now with Iota. Looks like it's the first time that it started going horizontal. I may put a position in Iota. Let me look at this a little bit deeper here, if you guys don't mind. Sometimes I need to get in my zone if I'm going to make a trade, I want to be confident in my trading. Who requested this? Josiah B. Okay. And they said something about a partnership as well. It also looks to me that we're starting to see more buy volume than sell volume here, at least with this ETH chart. And I do have Ethereum, so I could always trade Ethereum for Iota. This is what we're looking at, by the way. We're not looking at you can see even here when volume decreased, that's started to pump up. Here's what I would do in this case. An easy way to predict these run-ups when you see these squeezes, right? Look at the volume and see. You can even set up, you can set up your indicators with your volume. So what I would do, if I were trading this one, I would have set up, so this was the highest volume when the squeeze was really engaging itself with low volume. So I would have set that up right above this, like right around here. And I would have set up a trade alert right around there. And if that would have happened, I would have gotten an alert right here when the volume started to increase. It's also a way that you can also set up your buy order right on top of these squeezes. See, the cool thing about a squeeze is you don't have to buy at the support. So just in case it goes down, you're fine, because it's such a narrow price level that there's not much of a difference whether you buy here, 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 or here. So if you set up your buy order at the breakout, which is confirmation that it is going to break out, then if something ends up if something does happen, you'll automatically be aware of that. So what I'm going to do with this squeeze is I'm going to set up some alerts here, and I have Ethereum that I'm willing to trade, especially to swing this. And what you can do is, I'm going to put this on Patreon too. You can set up a buy right here. This is a pretty safe one too, because if it's up here, we're low in RSI, we're under the 50, and we're looking at the 1 day, we're way under the 50. And not only that, I would also set up an alert under there just in case, just to see if something happens, it's out of the squeeze, and you can stop being so optimistic about it and going to your mom and saying, hey, I'm gonna make a ton of money. I'm just kidding. So you can add an alert here. So this will email me. This will email me, and then my phone automatically has email alerts set up. So yeah, hopefully that helped out, seeing me kind of look at a coin live, guys. I'm gonna be posting this for all of our patrons. If you guys are patrons, you guys get my trade alerts whenever I'm watching a coin, potentially making a swing trade. I don't do day trade swing alerts, because what's the point of telling you that I'm buying right now when most of you probably watch this trade alerts after, like, you know, you get home from work or something. So swing trades are a little bit easier because it's more of a, you know, you have more time to make the trades. But I'm gonna go ahead and post this on, I'm gonna post this on the Patreon. So if you guys are patrons, you'll get that trading alert. But I like this a lot. Thank you for requesting this, guys. Did that help out a little bit? I miss you guys. I haven't interacted with anybody. Did that help out a little bit? You guys want to see more of that? Hey, Ramo. What is going on here? Okay. EXE crypto. Let's go ahead and we're gonna have to look into that one. But anyways, guys, we're not starting a pump and dump group. I don't know why that was posted here by our moderators, or one moderator. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that and remove moderator status. Hey Ramo, we're gonna have to talk after this. Nobody started a pump and dump group here, so yeah, I do apologize if you guys saw that message from somebody. It's crazy. People, they ruin business relationships that can potentially turn into like life-changing opportunities for them by just trying to get like a moment of you know, like they try to just like, you know, he was just advertising a pump and dump group for just a moment, and you know, let's say you get 100 members, let's say you get 1,000 members, like that's all you get. I mean, now you're never going to have a potential to grow again because you don't have any sort of, you know, business relationships set up and partnerships. And people, they ruin partnerships with people just to get a moment of time where you can establish a true long-term relationship with somebody and really end up almost squeezing a lot more opportunities out of that relationship. You know, the biggest thing for me is, you know, ethical value, and ethical value is such an important thing in a lot of manners. But anyways, let's go ahead and look more into some coins here. Sold your credibility. What are you talking about? Rest in peace, bro. You just got sniped. Well, I'm going to talk to him. I don't know what that was. I'm going to hear his side of the story. But Brian St. Clair is doing a great job. Somebody said, is becoming Sniper's Patreon give me portfolio advices? I wouldn't say portfolio advice. You know, I would say just go on Patreon, and then you can see the rewards that are available, and then you can determine whether or not it's for you or not. Shout out to our new patrons, by the way, Rick Perrier and Andon Haas. Shout out to those two. Somebody said, yes, this helped out a lot. That's awesome, guys. That is awesome. Thank you, guys. Somebody said principles. Yes, principles for sure. Let's see here. So somebody said, have you looked into Rayblocks? I like Rayblocks. I think it's a good project. I think what they're accomplishing, having those instant transactions, I think it's definitely necessary in certain ways. And I think it can really benefit the community of crypto just with, you know, those types of transactions being so instant. I think that's what crypto has always been meant to be for. You know, it's really been like, you know, crypto's, that's what it's meant for. It's meant to have instant transactions. Like today, to give you an example, when I paid Litecoin for my dinner tonight, it was just kind of, it took some time, you know, it was kind of weird. It took some time to verify the transaction and stuff. But you know, I was fine with it. So, you know, I think over time, that's one fallacy of crypto that needs to be solved. And I think once we can solve that, then a lot of things can change for crypto. I think Rayblocks is definitely one step ahead of its game trying to accomplish that, which would be awesome if it was able to truly accomplish that. So let's go ahead and look here and see what is happening with our other requests. We do have a ton of requests here. Let's go ahead and see what's popping around the community tonight. Let's go ahead and see here. So it looks to be that, wow, interesting. We got a ton of requests for ICX, so we'll probably have to do an ICX one too. I know we got a ton of super chats here as well. Let's go ahead and address these. So we can do ICX here. We'll do ICX BTC, and then we'll also do some double charts, and we'll look at multiple different charts at the same time to enhance our productivity here. We did Coin, so this is 1967 Super G. Nilo said tips to lose the fear of day trading, and then he said subcoin please, so substratum. And then we'll do our VIP requests as well. So tips to lose the fear of day trading. I would say to lose the fear of day trading, you have to be able to understand what you're investing in, and that really starts with understanding what is the product. Like I have a book here, it's called The Internet of Money, and I highly recommend that you guys start with this book. So if you're on our Discord now, you can actually go to Helpful Reads right up here under Tools, and under Helpful Reads there's a book called The Internet of Money, and it's a very basic book about blockchain and distributed ledgers. It gives you the understanding of what having a decentralized versus centralized system can create. And I think understanding things will really give you confidence, because for me, I'm super confident about my investments because I know this is the future. Now, I know it's the future because I understand the technology. So hopefully that will help out. And then let's go ahead and do these technicals. The other coins that we're going to be doing here from our VIP access looks like we're going to be doing NAO. We'll hit on POE as well, PO. We'll also look at, maybe you can discuss the difference between the charting analysis in different exchanges, and that an exchange that you may not be looking at the trades a higher volume of a particular coin skew a lower volume market view, but also analysis it will pull weight. I noticed on your couple of cards. So he's talking about volume. So different coins have different volumes, and you want to trade a coin where there's the most volume. So because you'll see the most volatility and you'll see the most dramatic movement. So for example, you can do sub BTC, and you can see here all the different, well, this is only on Binance, so you can probably do BTC USD. You can see on the right hand side all of the exchanges that are holding Bitcoin that are on TradingView, and you can literally go through and click Bitstamp, and you see the volume here is a certain amount, and then if you click Bitfinex, it's a whole different amount. So well, let me insert the volume here. What's no volume or something? I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, it's shorts, sorry. Clicked shorts. So let's do OKCoin. So very different volumes. So this is OKCoin, and then if you do Bitstamp versus OKCoin, very different volume. So it's a different chart as well. You know, that's where arbitrage comes in and stuff of that nature. So what was the coin that we had pulled up here? I think that was sub. All right, awesome. So let's see here as well. So we'll do ICX and sub, and then we also have a couple requests here. Bitrix has high volume. Hey, Naeem, thanks for the LTC technical analysis. Appreciate it. No problem, brother. Thank you, man. Nav and OST. Jay fellas, you want OST or PO? You gotta pick one, man. We do one per stream, if you don't mind. If we have time, we can do two. If we have an extra chart available. Let's go ahead and look here. So with ICX, there's some clear support levels. I'm not going to draw the wicks out because those are more volatile, but we got 6,626 Satoshis. Looks like we're finding some clear resistance right around 7,494 Satoshis, where there's a channel forming as well. And then we see this from initial run-up where we saw clear resistance levels of the run-up itself around 8,606 Satoshis. Now, seeing that we do see this run up, followed by consolidation, you do have to be careful because it's obviously in a downward trend. Pulling up the one-day chart, we can look at this chart and see that there currently isn't a 50-day moving average available on this. It's probably because of the exchange. Binance is just listed on TradingView, but you can see we are right above that EMA. Now, if I were to guess where the 50-day is, I would probably guess it would be around this area, because we are very high on prices right now compared to where we were a couple months ago. So pulling up ICX, ETH, clear support levels as well. So interesting to see that. I sometimes like to compare, because if you're trading with Ethereum, you have that opportunity. Looking at the 3-hour, getting a little bit farther away, same exact thing. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a different perspective on the 15-minute. Ooh, look at that beautiful, beautiful day trading channel here. If you guys are day traders, I would highly recommend a channel like this where there's a lot of volatility up and down. There's clear spikes, and you can see it's, you know, clearly following the channel the way that it has been following it for the past couple of hours. So I would say at this point, you know, I think we're at high price levels. If you're holding the coin, be cautious. You know, have your stop losses set up at certain levels. You can see this coin likes to jump below these stop losses, but you always have the opportunity to set up these stop losses at these different levels to ensure maximum profit retention. So I would say when looking at a coin like this, you definitely want to be careful at these high levels. And we're just bouncing off a channel, not necessarily forming anything specific. And this is a 15-minute chart, so don't be too optimistic about that. That's more of a short-term chart. And then looking at substratum, looks a little bit different. Not as much volatility, not necessarily a trading chart, but you can see here, if we can pull up the 1-day chart and look at that 50-day moving average, we're extremely high from that. And you can see here, we are on a downward trend. We're about 63% above that 50-day, which is quite a big number compared to a coin like Iota, where we're not that far. So in this case, I would say for substratum, you know, just based on the, I guess you can say, a swing trading perspective, it's a little bit high, and it's following a downward trend. It's not necessarily, you know, there was some support right around this level. So if we can find support and build a channel, that could be a day trading channel. But I would say that if we hit this bottom, continue to go down, that could be bad. If you see here, a lot of sell volume came out of nowhere. That could certainly be institutional trader money coming out of the substratum coin. So what I would say at this point is to just kind of, you know, if you're trying to buy a position, I would say still to hold off because of the fact that we're on this downward spiral. So we'll let that chart mature a little bit, and we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and see these requests here and what's going on. Let's go ahead and pull this up here. So we said, what site are you on? This is tradingview.com, brother. And if we go up here, it looks like we have OST. Awesome, brother. Thank you for picking one. OST BTC. And then we also have NAO. What about QBT as a swing? All right. Let's see if we can do NAO. NAO BTC. No. So let's go ahead and do QBT. See if we can learn something from this chart. Oh, man. So, yeah, it's probably too small of a coin. So we'll take the next request here. It's helpful to look at the highest volume exchanges. Also, Breadcoin. 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 I don't know if you're talking about the BRD coin. I don't think that was what you're talking about. So let's just skip that. So Trish said Nav. So we'll do Nav. Good one, Trish. Thank you for being Emerald. And ooh, I like this. So clear support levels here. Interesting. And we're starting to see a bounce like we're supposed to. Let's pull up the 1-day chart here really quick. Nice. Look at that. That could potentially be a very, very beautifully made cup and handle. You can see there's a lot of depth here, which is a good sign. You see the breakout we're initially supposed to see. We're seeing the cup, the base right here, and I would still consider us on the way up, you know. Or as a matter of fact, no, we hit this top right here. Yeah, because see, this is a really thin chart, so you'll probably get a better view here in the 4 hour. Let's go ahead and look at this on the 4 hour. Yeah, that's a way better view. So this is a, oh, look at that. That's a really nice cup and handle. I really like that. You know why it is a cup and handle? So this could have changed it being a cup and handle, but it wasn't. It wasn't overstretched enough. Like, it was just on that barrier of being too overstretched to be considered a cup and handle, because this would have totally ruined it. But if you look at the zoomed out perspective, it's exactly what it's supposed to be, a cup and handle. It found that steepness that we're looking for, and then we saw that immediate pullback, which now we're seeing the resistance. So potential breakout here as well. I like that for Nav coin. So let me go ahead and pull up here for Nav what we're looking at in terms of metrics. We're at 241 billion, ranked number 127, and it's in the red. So what's a rule that we always say? Buy in the red, sell in the green, right? We're in the red right now. Let's go ahead and just open this chart up a little bit really quick. Let's see what the 1 day looks like in total. We're not too far away from that 50-day. If you look here, currently about under 40% away right now with that minor correction that we saw. But at one point when we saw this huge run up, we were 216% away from that 50. So a lot of room to grow there for this coin. It looks like it likes to go away from that 50-day quite a bit when it runs up. So even right here, you can see 262% away. Wow, these are some huge price increases. Interesting coin. So there's this clear cup and handle forming, and I think at this point I would zoom in, since it's such a big cup and handle. Zoom in here, watch this trade. This would probably be the buy price. I wouldn't mind placing a buy order around this level, as long as it doesn't break this, because if it does break this, now this is actually a really nice chart. So I think I may trade this. Yeah, look at that. It's previous resistance that has turned into support. So that's even a better sign for me, at least. Interesting. Let's pull up a 5 minute really quick. Yeah, look at that. It's starting to curve. EMA is starting to point up. I'm gonna purchase this right now. I'm actually gonna trade this right now. So we'll trade this here on BTRX. It's at a perfect position to buy, and then I'm also gonna set up an alert for our Patreons, because this is a really good chart here. There's a lot of good things about this chart. Now, if it breaks that level, I'm gonna have a stop loss set up right under that, just in case, because the handle could still start to form. So be sure to be careful on a trade like this. Be careful with all your trades. That's why I don't mind calling trades out, because I'm expecting you guys to have those stop losses set up. And don't set them up too low. Set them up right so that you're only losing very minimal percentages. But this is Nav, cup, and handle alert. I like it, guys. Good request there. So let's go ahead and make a quick buy order here on BTRX for this. Zeb Meister said, please explain the theory behind the buy the hype and sell the news. Well, if you think about Ripple, you know, if you would have bought Ripple before the news had its hands on it, then you would have been a very happy investor, right? So, you know, it's almost like common sense, in my opinion, to just always buy the hype, because when you're buying at the hype, then you're buying at levels at which, you know, it's not official yet, you know, like there's still a lot of, you know, other factors there. There's one thing about this that I don't like, is the RSI here is a little bit high, but I don't mind that, being that there's clear support and resistance. So I am going to place an order here. It looks like even on BTRX we're seeing these price levels. Let's see here exactly what's going on. Looks a little bit different on this. Let me see why. We're looking at a 30-minute chart. That's probably why. So let's do a 1 hour really quick. See if, where's that cup at? Okay, is that not forming on? Is this not the Bittrex? This may not be the right. So interesting. Let me see something really quick. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Alright. Sorry, I'm tired. So we're on the 1 day. That's where it's at. So here's a cup and handle. Yeah, so there you go. So even on Bittrex right now, you can see exactly what we were seeing on that chart. I wouldn't mind placing a market order, I guess. So why don't we, how much do I have in my Bittrex right now? I don't even know how much I have on my Bittrex. Because I have my Binance is what I use. Bittrex I use for the live streams because it is a little bit faster for my computer. Why don't we just trade, I don't know. Why don't we just do a 25% order there, so we'll do like about $100 US. We'll do that, and then let's do a market order. So we won't necessarily need to place a limit. I'm pretty confident on this trade. It looks like there's a lot of indicators here that we're at a low level. We've hit this before, so if this can go ahead and fulfill itself, that would be amazing, and then we can go from there. Somebody said, don't buy Nav, bro. I like the technical, man. I'm gonna buy what I want to buy. Somebody said, where do you go to see these alerts? I'm just placing a quick trade on the live stream because I want to take advantage of this. Let me actually pick a better buy price. I'll do that one. I don't mind doing that. I'm going to swing this one. I'm not going to day trade this one. Because with a cup and handle, it's more of a swing trade in my opinion. I wouldn't day trade a cup and handle. But look, it's perfect. It's going right on that support line. So as long as it can continue to do that, I think that would be really good. So on with the next coin here. Let's go ahead and see what's next. Let's see what is popping here. Let's see here. All right, we got some more requests here. We had that request from Mahmed. Let's go ahead and pull this one up as well. So we're currently looking at OST BTC, and we'll pull this one up on the 1 minute just to keep track of we'll keep track of this one while we're watching this, and then we'll pull up the 1 day for this coin. Okay, it's starting to head down. Volume is dramatically decreasing. RSI is super high. Not necessarily the best sign for a coin. I would say on the 1 minute, looks like we're finding a bit of support here, but I wouldn't call this support yet because it's still on that decline. So this is a very simple chart for me. You know, you obviously have these levels here. You can see it's starting to decline. If you were to draw this out like that, you can see it's descending, and it's forming this pattern here. You see there's a descending triangle forming, clear descending triangle here, and I would just kind of stay away from purchasing this type of coin at this point, being the fact that you know, volume is dramatically decreasing. There's this huge buy volume here, but now, I mean, there's no real channel to follow. I would let this chart mature, but at this point it's forming this rectangle as well, where you see that negative price movement. So it's kind of what I would say with OST right now, just based on the technicals. And then looking at the 4 hour chart, or the 1 day, which we did, pull up the 4 hour, you could see very similar there. Now if it bounces off this 50 on the 4 hour, that could be potentially good for support levels. So we'll have to continue to watch this. I don't see any breakout patterns right now with this coin, so hopefully that assists in some way. Let's go ahead and look at what else we have here. So we got a couple more requests here. Nice. Okay, so looks like somebody said, yeah, buddy, BRD is breadcoin. All right, awesome. Thank you, Gemini. So we'll do breadcoin here. Breadcoin. That's a funny name. What is breadcoin all about? I'd be interested to see. Okay, $135 million mark. Oh, look at that. Nice chart here. So this chart right here could potentially be a nice chart to trade because, or at least as a value investor. So if I see a coin like this with the chart that's so stable like that, hasn't seen much of a breakout, it shows me that this could potentially be a good coin to buy in right now as a long-term hold, being the fact that it hasn't really had these parabolic run-ups. You know, when a coin is at this level, I would say that you want to look at this more as a value investor. So you can still use technical analysis here. You can see there's obviously a support level here, so this is pretty much this is a pretty good buy price here compared to these previous levels. You can see this cup and handle. Here's another cup and handle that formed. Decline, base was a little bit off, but it was still forming a cup. And then you see that initial downtrend, and then breakout occurred right over here. So that's why we just traded NAV, because I see exactly what's happening here happening with NAV. And you're seeing we're forming that support up here. It seems like it's just within a channel. This could be an easy day traders chart as well, but there's probably not enough volume, so I wouldn't day trade this right now. I would say to just, if this is going to be a long-term investment, and that could potentially be a good one, being the fact that it hasn't seen much of a breakout just yet, and we're still at these really low Satoshi levels around 17,000. So well, we'll continue to keep track of this over time. I'm sure you'll have more requests of it, and then we'll see what goes on, and just so we can take a quick glance at what the heck this is. Breadcoin. Bread is the simple and secure Bitcoin wallet. Interesting. There's a lot of Bitcoin wallet exchange ICOs, so I don't know how I feel about that, just based on being a wallet, knowing that. Don't forget to help out the channel, guys. You know, it really helps when you guys you know, like the video, because it gains a little bit more exposure. So don't forget to do that, guys. That is the least amount of gratitude that I'd like for you guys to show. That would be awesome. We're gonna head over to our Night Owl in just a second. This is gonna be open for all Discord members, and all of you guys on the live stream are welcome to join in. So download Discord or just go on the web browser app, and you guys can actually get on here, and we can start talking, and you guys can ask questions, and we can get into a little bit more depth on what's happening. So anyways, guys, I'll see you guys all soon at the Night Owl, and let's go ahead and also see here what's going on with our super chats really quick. Do we have any other requests? Doesn't look like we do. Thank you for all tuning in tonight. Did you guys enjoy the live stream? I know it was a little bit longer, but I think we got a lot of stuff done here. And we'll see you guys around in Discord. Somebody said the trade alerts, that's on Patreon. Both of those links will be posted right now on the chat. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And I posted the Discord right there. So we'll see all of you guys at the Night Owl tonight. We'll have a quick Night Owl, talk a little bit about the dinner I had tonight and really what happened. Somebody said good night. Frankie, Miral, Dave, Noel, Trey Veng said it sucked, bro. Well, why are you still watching? Excellent stream tonight. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. Stoyan said great. Jeff said I learned a ton here. Love it, man. Quick look for Poe, please. Pumping up. Naeem, is Patreon Night Owl available to all patrons today? Yes, Philip, it is available to all. When you go on the Night Owl, go to Night Owl. It's all the way in the bottom this time, and then you just click Night Owl here, and you guys can actually join in, and we can get the Night Owl started tonight and get your questions answered. Somebody said you did good. Thank you, Joe. Nicholas Dower, Tron to the Moon, Frankie Sang is in the house. Matt, Miral, Dave, Shannon. Thank you, bro. Amazing job. Thank you, brother. Caesar said, amazing stream tonight. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. If you guys really like the stream, like the video before you go. And thank you guys for tuning in once again. We do this pretty much every night. Sooner or later, we're going to have a schedule set up. We have a huge, huge plan for snipers. We got a lot of stuff in the works right now. A lot of things are mending itself. So be patient. Things are going to start popping. Once again, thank you guys all for watching tonight. And like always, snipers out.